Long before Tyrannosaurus rex thundered across Late Cretaceous North America, long before its jaws became the icon of prehistoric power, the Earth passed through worlds ruled by apex predators, entirely unlike anything people imagine when they think of dinosaurs. To understand the rise of T. rex, we must step back nearly 500 million years through epochs shaped by shifting continents, catastrophic extinctions, and evolutionary experiments that produced truly extraordinary hunters. This documentary explores those forgotten sovereigns, the monsters that dominated ecosystems in eras where mammals, birds, and even the earliest dinosaurs had not yet begun to take form. These apex predators held absolute authority over their environments, from Cambrian seas filled with armoured arthropods to Permian plains roamed by sabre-toothed proto-mammals, to the great carnivorous dinosaurs that rose and fell before tyrannosaurs ever emerged. Each chapter immerses us deeper into Earth's deep-time ecosystems, explaining how predators evolved new strategies of killing, how extinction reshuffled the hierarchy of dominance, and how the eventual rise of T. rex was only possible because earlier giants disappeared. To understand one of nature's most famous killers, we must first meet the ones that paved the way. Anomalocaris, the first great apex predator. Over 520 million years ago, during the Cambrian explosion, Earth's oceans were crowded with experimental forms of life, each testing new body structures and survival strategies. Among these strange creatures was Anomalocaris, the earliest known apex predator and one of the first animals capable of active pursuit predation. At up to 1 meter long, it towered over most Cambrian organisms, many of which were no larger than a few centimeters. Its body, lined with flexible swimming lobes, allowed it to glide through the water with surprising agility, setting it apart as the first true hunter in Earth's early seas. While other creatures scavenged or filtered food from the water, Anomalocaris used speed, coordination, and sophisticated anatomy to dominate its environment. At the front of its body extended 2 large, jointed appendages armed with rows of spines. These limbs acted like multi-purpose weapons. They could sweep outward like nets, snap inward like traps, or curl to form a basket that directed prey toward the mouth. When a trilobite or soft-bodied worm came into view, these appendages moved with precision, capturing the prey in a split-second motion. For the first time in natural history, an animal possessed tools designed not just to grab food, but to manipulate, crush, and position struggling prey with intention. These arms were the evolutionary ancestors of claws, tentacles, and predatory limbs found in countless future species. The circular mouth of Anomalocaris has long fascinated paleontologists. Once misunderstood as the entire creature, it is now recognized as a powerful feeding apparatus built from overlapping plates arranged in a rotating ring. Early scientists believed it could only suction soft animals, but evidence of trilobites with crushed and chipped exoskeletons revealed a more formidable truth. This predator was capable of biting through armor. Fossilized trilobites bear semicircular damage patterns that match the shape of Anomalocaris' mouth exactly, proving beyond doubt that it was not merely an opportunistic feeder, but a true apex predator that shaped the behavior and evolution of organisms around it. The eyes of Anomalocaris were another remarkable adaptation. Preserved fossil specimens reveal compound eyes with up to 16,000 individual lenses, making them among the most advanced visual organs ever discovered from the Cambrian period. These eyes gave Anomalocaris the ability to track movement, detect shapes, and navigate complex light environments, granting it a level of sensory awareness far superior to any of its contemporaries. In an era when most animals relied on chemical cues and blind groping, Anomalocaris possessed vision that approached the sophistication of modern dragonflies, an extraordinary feat for such an ancient creature. The Cambrian seas teemed with a diversity of evolving life. Trilobites scuttled across the sea floor, worms wriggled through mud, early chordates darted like primitive fish, and sponges filtered nutrients from gentle currents. But in open water, Anomalocaris was unchallenged. Its streamlined shape allowed it to surge forward in powerful undulating bursts, quickly surrounding and trapping fleeing prey. The mere presence of this predator likely changed the daily behavior of its ecosystem. Many trilobite species developed thicker shells, new spines, and faster escape responses. Some adopted rolling behavior for protection, curling into tight defensive balls when threatened. As an apex predator, Anomalocaris triggered one of the earliest evolutionary arms races. Prey had to evolve new defenses or risk extinction, while the predator itself refined its hunting strategies over millions of years. The rising complexity of eyes, muscles, and protective shells can be traced directly to the selective pressure applied by this giant arthropod. Even early fish-like chordates may have evolved streamlined bodies and enhanced swimming abilities, in part to survive encounters with this swift hunter. In a sense, Anomalocaris was a catalyst, accelerating the development of advanced animal life. With no known natural predators of its own, Anomalocaris sat at the top of a simple but rapidly expanding food web. Its dominance defined not only who lived and died, but also how energy flowed through the ecosystem. By controlling populations of mid-level organisms such as trilobites, it indirectly shaped the abundance of smaller creatures like worms and plankton. Ecologists call such forces trophic cascades, when a top predator influences an entire ecosystem from the top down. In the Cambrian, such a role was still new, but Anomalocaris embodied it fully. Yet, despite its overwhelming success, the reign of Anomalocaris was finite. Over time, new animals arose with more advanced features. Early vertebrate predators, equipped with internal skeletons and stronger muscle systems, began to appear. The oceans changed, climates shifted, and ecological opportunities evolved. Though Anomalocaris remained a dominant force for millions of years, the rise of jawed fishes would eventually redefine marine apex predators, pushing arthropods away from the top position they once held unchallenged. Even so, the legacy of Anomalocaris lives on. It was the first creature to show what a true apex predator could be: fast, powerful, visually acute, and equipped with specialized anatomy for capturing prey. It demonstrated that predation could drive complexity, innovation, and diversification throughout entire ecosystems. Every apex predator that followed, from Permian sabre-toothed hunters to gigantic Jurassic carnosaurs, and eventually T. Rex itself, inherited an ecological role first pioneered by this strange, elegant terror of the Cambrian seas. Gorgonopsians, saber-toothed killers of the Permian. In the late Permian period, roughly 260 million years ago, the world was a harsh and volatile landscape, dominated by vast deserts, seasonal droughts, and spreading volcanic provinces. This era came long before the first dinosaurs, yet it was filled with formidable creatures that bore little resemblance to either reptiles or mammals as we know them today. Among these unique animals was a lineage of predatory synapsids known as Gorgonopsians, the saber-toothed rulers of the Permian world. These creatures were not dinosaurs, nor were they mammals, but rather part of the evolutionary line that would eventually produce true mammals. With long, deep skulls, serrated teeth, and enormous saber-like canines, Gorgonopsians were the apex land predators of their time. Striking fear, into the large, herbivorous synapsids that grazed across the supercontinent Pangaea. Their reign marked one of the earliest eras in which land-based predators achieved sophisticated, mammal-like hunting strategies. The most iconic member of this group was Inostrantsavier, a massive Gorgonopsian that stretched nearly 4.5 meters in length and carried saber teeth up to 12 centimeters long. Its skull was proportionally huge, dominating almost a third of its body length, and housed a powerful set of jaw muscles that allowed it to deliver deep, slashing bites. Unlike many earlier predators that relied on crushing jaws, Gorgonopsians specialized in slicing through flesh and delivering lethal wounds quickly. Their saber teeth were not simply ornamental weapons, they were adapted for precision killing, targeting vital areas of large herbivores, such as dicynodonts and pariasaurs. With lightweight skeletons and elongated limbs, Gorgonopsians combined speed and agility with ferocity, allowing them to pursue prey over open terrain rather than ambushing them from cover. The eyes of Gorgonopsians were positioned forward on the skull, granting them a degree of binocular vision that earlier predators lacked. This enhanced depth perception marked a significant evolutionary advancement, enabling them to judge distances and track moving prey with far greater accuracy. Their nasal passages were also more complex than those of other Permian animals, suggesting an increase in metabolic capacity and sensory acuity, early steps toward the warm-blooded physiology that would one day characterize true mammals. Their bodies were likely covered not in scales but in smooth skin or a thin layer of proto-fur, although direct evidence of this has not yet been found. If such insulation existed, it would have further supported the idea that Gorgonopsians were active hunters capable of sustained pursuit. The Permian landscape that Gorgonopsians dominated was unforgiving. Much of the world's landmass was concentrated in the supercontinent Pangaea, creating extreme seasonal climates with scorching summers and bitter winters. The prey they hunted were tough animals themselves, bulky dicynodonts equipped with beaks and tusks, heavily armoured pariasaurs, and agile small synapsids that scurried through undergrowth. Gorgonopsians needed not only speed, but also powerful jaws capable of cutting through thick hides. Their saber teeth were anchored in deep sockets, and their jaw mechanics allowed for wide gapes, sometimes exceeding 90 degrees, enabling them to bite deeply into prey without risking tooth breakage. This combination of skull strength and mobility made them some of the most lethal predators of their age. Despite their killing power, Gorgonopsians were not built for long-distance chases. Their bodies suggest a lifestyle based on bursts of speed, potentially stalking prey before launching short, explosive attacks. Their flexible spine and long limbs indicate they could accelerate quickly, while their large skulls imply a strong reliance on a final, devastating bite rather than prolonged combat. Once a Gorgonopsian latched onto its target with its sabres, the outcome was often fatal. Fossil evidence suggests that many herbivores of the era bore injuries consistent with deep slicing bites, a signature of the Gorgonopsian attack strategy. Their predatory role placed them at the top of the food chain, unchallenged by any other terrestrial predator of the late Permian. One of the most fascinating aspects of Gorgonopsians is their evolutionary position. They were part of the synapsid lineage, neither reptiles nor mammals, but ancient relatives of mammals. Their skulls possessed a single temporal opening behind each eye, an early version of the jaw muscle arrangement found in modern mammals. This allowed for greater bite force and more complex muscle attachment, traits that would eventually lead to the diverse chewing mechanisms of mammals today. In this sense, Gorgonopsians represent a transitional form, fearsome predators that blended reptilian and mammalian characteristics in unique ways. Their existence highlights how evolution often experiments with combinations of traits before arriving at the familiar body plans we recognize. Gorgonopsians also lived during a time of mounting environmental stress. The late Permian was marked by fluctuating climates, declining oxygen levels, and increasing volcanic activity. These pressures may have favored animals with higher metabolic rates and more advanced respiratory systems traits suspected in synapsids like Gorgonopsians. Some scientists believe these predators were among the first large land animals capable of relatively active, mammal-like behavior, giving them an advantage in environments where rapid adaptation was essential. However, their specialization may also have made them vulnerable when ecosystems suddenly changed. The end of the Permian brought one of the most catastrophic extinction events in Earth's history, the Permian Triassic extinction, also known as the Great Dying. Massive volcanic eruptions in the Siberian traps released enormous quantities of carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere, triggering rapid climate change, ocean acidification, and widespread collapse of food webs. As forests died, herbivore populations plummeted, and with them, the predators that depended on them. Gorgonopsians, being apex predators, were among the first groups to disappear. Their extinction illustrates a pattern that would repeat throughout Earth's history. The top predators, while powerful, are often the most sensitive to ecological disruption. Although Gorgonopsians vanished, their evolutionary legacy endured. They represented a crucial step in synapsid evolution, bridging the gap between primitive, reptile-like ancestors and the more advanced therapsids that would later give rise to mammals. Their skull structures, teeth specialization, and potential metabolic advancements foreshadowed traits that would eventually be refined in early mammalia forms. In many ways, they embodied the earliest blueprint for large, active terrestrial predators, a role that would be reinvented by dinosaurs millions of years later and eventually perfected by apex hunters like Allosaurus, Giganotosaurus, and ultimately Tyrannosaurus rex. In the grand story of apex predators, Gorgonopsians stand as the sabre-toothed kings of a forgotten world, a world that existed long before the age of dinosaurs, at a time when the ancestors of mammals ruled with an authority that would not be matched again until after the dinosaurs themselves vanished. Their reign marked the end of an ancient era, setting the stage for the rise of new predators in the Triassic and Jurassic, and ultimately contributing to the evolutionary tapestry that would shape Earth's future ecosystems. Anteosaurus, the titan of the Permian. Long before the first dinosaurs evolved, and even before the saber-toothed Gorgonopsians reached their apex, the Permian world was ruled by a different kind of predator, entirely a colossal, thick-boned giant known as Anteosaurus. This massive therapsid, belonging to the group called Dinocephalians, lived around 265 million years ago. Unlike the sleek and agile Gorgonopsians that would come later, Anteosaurus was built like a living battering ram. Some individuals exceeded 5 meters in length and weighed well over a ton, making them among the heaviest land predators before the advent of dinosaurs. With a skull that alone could measure nearly a meter and filled with fearsome serrated teeth, Anteosaurus was an apex predator shaped by brute force rather than speed, adapted to a rugged world populated by heavily armoured herbivores and powerful competitors. The skull of Anteosaurus remains one of its most distinctive features. Thick, dense, and reinforced with bony ridges, it was capable of withstanding tremendous impact forces. Some paleontologists believe these skulls were used not only for predation, but also for combat within the species, headbutting contests over territory or mates, similar to the behaviour seen in modern musk, oxen, or bighorn sheep. If true, This would make Anteosaurus one of the earliest large animals to evolve specialized adaptations for ritualized combat. But the skull was also a deadly weapon. Its strong jaws carried serrated teeth designed to slice flesh from large herbivores such as parasaurs, tapinocephalids, and the bulky plant eaters that roamed Permian floodplains. The predator's bite was not merely a means of feeding, it was a tool for dominance in an unforgiving ecosystem. Despite its enormous size, scientists once believed Anteosaurus was a sluggish, lumbering animal. However, modern studies of its inner ear structure, particularly the semicircular canals responsible for balance and coordination, suggest it was more agile than previously assumed. These canals resemble those of active predators capable of quick movements and stable head control during rapid strikes. This discovery implies that Anteosaurus, despite its weight, could move with surprising speed, at least in short bursts. Its legs were positioned more vertically beneath its body than those of earlier reptile-like animals, giving it improved support and allowing for more efficient locomotion. This body posture, similar to that of later therapsids and early mammals, may have enabled Anteosaurus to charge prey with alarming force. The world of Anteosaurus was dominated by rugged terrain and large herbivores that were not easily subdued. Many prey species possessed thick bones, protective armor, or social behaviors that helped defend against predators. The tapinocephalids, for example, were enormous, massively built herbivores that rivaled Anteosaurus in size and strength. Their skulls were dome-shaped and reinforced, suggesting they also engaged in head-to-head combat. For Anteosaurus, hunting these giants would not have been a matter of stealth or chase, but rather one of overwhelming power. A charge or a head strike might destabilize a herbivore, followed by devastating bites delivered with jaws honed by millions of years of evolutionary refinement. The resulting confrontation would have been one of the most dramatic predator-prey interactions in prehistoric history. Another intriguing aspect of Anteosaurus is its lineage. Dinocephalians were early therapsids, often called mammal-like reptiles, though they were neither true mammals nor reptiles. They represent an early phase of synapsid evolution, when life was still experimenting with massive body sizes, thick bones, and heavy armor. The name Dinocephalian itself means terrible head, referring to the group's characteristically thick skull bones. These animals were among the first large terrestrial vertebrates to dominate ecosystems, establishing a pattern of megafaunal predation that would later be reinvented by dinosaurs. Anteosaurus, with its combination of size, strength, and predatory adaptations, embodied this early experiment in extreme terrestrial carnivory. Because of its size, Anteosaurus likely had a slow-growing but energy-demanding lifestyle. It would have required large territories and abundant prey to sustain itself. This means individuals may have been solitary, interacting with others only during mating periods or territorial disputes. The fossil record supports this idea. Remains of Anteosaurus are relatively scarce compared to those of herbivores from the same era, implying that they were fewer in number and lived across vast hunting ranges. Apex predators typically exist in low population densities, and Anteosaurus was no exception. The scarcity of high-calorie prey items meant that only a few of these predators could coexist in any given region. The extinction of Anteosaurus and other dinocephalians was likely tied to climatic changes that reshaped Permian ecosystems. Shifts in temperature and humidity altered habitats, causing forests to shrink and water sources to become less stable. As vegetation communities changed, so too did herbivore populations, undermining the prey base that large predators depended upon. Dinocephalians, with their massive bodies and energy requirements, were particularly vulnerable to such transitions. Their disappearance marked a turning point in Permian ecological history, clearing the way for the rise of Gorgonopsians, faster, more refined hunters that took advantage of the changing environment. Yet even in extinction, Anteosaurus left a lasting imprint on synapsid evolution. It demonstrated that terrestrial predators could reach enormous sizes, paving the evolutionary path for later megafauna. It showcased an early version of mammalian jaw musculature, balance adaptations, and limb posture that would eventually culminate in more advanced therapsids. The concept of a colossal land predator, an animal relying on strength, agility, and carnivorous specialization, did not begin with dinosaurs, but with these ancient synapsids. In many ways, Anteosaurus was a prototype of large terrestrial carnivores that would evolve again and again across Earth's history. In the broader story of apex predators, Anteosaurus holds a unique position. It represents a time when evolution experimented with building giants, not from reptiles or dinosaurs, but from mammal-line ancestors. Its reign was brief compared to the long age of dinosaurs, yet its presence influenced the direction of synapsid evolution for millions of years. It was the titan of the Permian, a living fortress of bone and muscle, whose power shaped the fate of the creatures around it. And though it fell long before the rise of T. rex, it stands among the earliest and most imposing apex predators ever to walk the earth. Chapter 4. Anteosaurus, the titan of the Permian. The Permian world was a place defined by extremes, a landscape that shifted between scorching heat and seasonal droughts, broken only by the occasional violent storm that rippled across vast floodplains. Within these challenging environments, life evolved toward specialization, pushing creatures toward either hyper-efficiency or brute force. Among the apex hunters that rose from this crucible, few embodied raw power better than Anteosaurus, a massive dinocephalian predator that stalked southern Pangaea nearly 265 million years ago. Unlike the dinosaurs that would come later, Anteosaurus was part of a more ancient branch of synapsids, distant relatives of mammals, displaying a unique blend of reptilian and proto-mammalian traits. This predator roamed a world long before tyrannosaurs, and in its era, no creature could rival its sheer intimidation. Anteosaurus was defined by an enormous skull that could reach nearly a meter in length, a massive structure reinforced with bone thickening known as pachyostosis. The skull alone weighed as much as a full-grown wolf, and its architecture suggested a crushing bite delivered by powerful jaw muscles anchored to deep ridges and broad surfaces. The creature possessed large, conical teeth that curved backward, ideal for piercing thick hides and holding struggling prey. The most iconic feature, however, was the pair of prominent bony bosses above the eye's structures that likely played a role in combat or display. These cranial reinforcements hinted at a predator built not only for killing, but possibly for dominance battles with its own kind, clashing heads in violent confrontations that echoed across the prehistoric plains. Its body was equally imposing, built with thick, barrel-shaped ribs and stout limbs that supported a mass estimated to exceed 500 kilograms. Anteosaurus was not built for prolonged speed, but for explosive power. The forelimbs were heavy and muscular, capable of gripping and wrestling prey to the ground, while the hind limbs provided the propulsion necessary for short bursts of acceleration. The tail served as a counterbalance, allowing the predator to stabilize itself during lunges or during combat with large herbivorous dinocephalians such as moschops. Though not agile by dinosaur standards, Anteosaurus was more than capable of overwhelming prey with brute strength. The environment Anteosaurus ruled was rich with megafauna, making it both an opportunity-filled hunting ground and a competitive arena. Herds of moskops, massive therapsids with thick skulls and bulky bodies, were among the most abundant herbivores, often congregating around river systems and wetlands. These plant eaters, despite their size, were vulnerable to ambush from an adult Anteosaurus lurking in muddy channels or behind dense vegetation. Juvenile dicynodonts, parareptiles, and early amphibians likely supplemented its diet, especially when drought drove many animals to shrinking water sources. In such moments, Anteosaurus became the undisputed monarch of the riverbanks, forcing everything else to keep its distance. Hunting strategies for Anteosaurus have long been debated, with paleontologists considering whether its massive skull complicated fast predation. Recent studies and biomechanical modelling suggest that the skull, despite its weight, was supported by strong neck muscles, allowing it to deliver devastating downward bites. Its posture and limb structure imply that it was capable of short ambush attacks rather than prolonged chases. Researchers propose that Anteosaurus behaved much like modern big cats or crocodiles, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The combination of stealth and sudden force allowed it to subdue prey larger than itself, crushing bone and flesh with shocking efficiency. The sensory abilities of Anteosaurus remain partly speculative, but fossil evidence provides hints about how it perceived its world. The shape of the skull suggests limited binocular vision, but the position of the nostrils and cranial cavities implies a strong sense of smell. This trait would have been essential for tracking prey across the expansive floodplains. Its inner ear structure indicates it could detect low-frequency vibrations, potentially helping it monitor distant movement or locate nearby animals at watering holes. Such adaptations reflect an apex predator that relied on both patience and sensory awareness, carefully selecting the right moment to unleash its power. Life was not without competition, however. The Permian period hosted a suite of carnivorous synapsids and reptiles that occasionally crossed paths with Anteosaurus. Smaller Gorgonopsians, while quick and agile, lacked the mass to challenge it directly. Titanosaucians and other dinocephalian carnivores competed for similar prey but occupied different ecological roles, allowing Anteosaurus to remain dominant. Intraspecific competition, however, was likely intense. Scar marks on skulls of related species suggest ritualized combat or territorial disputes, perhaps during mating seasons or over access to key hunting grounds. These confrontations would have been explosive, with two massive individuals colliding in displays of strength. Despite its formidable nature, Anteosaurus faced significant environmental pressures. The Permian climate was shifting, ecosystems were fragmenting, and periodic droughts caused mass die-offs that reduced prey availability. Apex predators are always the first to feel the effects of ecological instability, and Anteosaurus was no exception. As conditions worsened and habitats became less stable, populations likely declined. Eventually, the end Permian extinction, Earth's most catastrophic biological crisis, wiped out nearly all large synapsids, including this titan of its age. Its disappearance marked the end of an era in which mammal-like reptiles dominated the food chain. The legacy of Anteosaurus lives on in the evolutionary story of synapsids. Although it left no direct descendants, its existence demonstrated the potential of early mammal ancestors to produce apex predators with immense power and specialized weaponry. Millions of years later, new lineages of synapsids would give rise to true mammals, many of which would reclaim apex roles in future ecosystems. Anteosaurus stands as a reminder that long before dinosaurs dominated the world, the stage of prehistory was shaped by predators that were every bit as fearsome, innovative, and ecologically influential. In its time, Anteosaurus was not simply a hunter, it was the embodiment of dominance and survival in a world on the edge of cataclysmic change. The Permian would soon give way to one of the most dramatic transitions in Earth's history. But during its reign, Anteosaurus demonstrated the incredible evolutionary experimentation underway long before the age of dinosaurs began. Its story forms a crucial part of the chain of apex predators that ruled each era in turn, each one reshaping life's trajectory long before the first tyrannosaur ever took its first breath. Allosaurus, apex hunter of the Jurassic. The late Jurassic was a golden age for giant reptiles, a world defined by towering conifers, vast fern meadows, and herds of immense sauropods that moved like living mountains across the landscape. Among these giants, one predator reigned with a combination of agility, intelligence, and deadly precision. Allosaurus, the undisputed apex hunter of the Morrison Formation and one of the most successful carnivores of its time. Unlike the heavier, bulkier predators that would dominate later periods, Allosaurus balanced power with speed, creating a highly adaptable killing machine that shaped the behavior and evolution of every large herbivore it encountered. It was not the largest carnivore of prehistory, but in terms of sheer ecological influence, few could match its impact. Allosaurus possessed a skull that was simultaneously lightweight and deadly, measuring up to 85 centimeters in the largest specimens. Its jaws were lined with serrated, blade-like teeth that could slice through flesh with the same efficiency as modern predatory birds. But the most intriguing aspect of its skull was the set of powerful muscles that allowed it to open its jaws remarkably wide, enabling it to deliver a hatchet-like strike using the weight of its head. Instead of relying solely on bite force, Allosaurus could drive its upper jaw downward in rapid, repeated blows, effectively hacking into prey like a living cleaver. This technique turned each attack into a devastating combination of momentum and precision, making Allosaurus one of the most efficient predators of the Jurassic. Its body reflected an evolutionary balance between strength and mobility. Standing nearly 3 meters tall at the hip and reaching lengths up to 12 meters, Allosaurus was a medium-sized giant by theropod standards, but its limb proportions and musculature allowed for bursts of impressive speed. The hind limbs were long and powerful, giving it the agility to pursue prey or maneuver around panicked groups of herbivores. The forelimbs, though shorter than those of earlier carnivores, were still strong and armed with 3 large, curved claws that could grip, rake, or pin down prey. Its tail functioned like a counterweight, enabling sharp turns and stable forward momentum during attacks. This combination of features made Allosaurus not just a hunter, but a strategic predator capable of complex maneuvers. Allosaurus lived in an environment dominated by some of the largest herbivores to ever walk the earth. Sauropods, such as Diplodocus, Apatosaurus, and Brachiosaurus, shaped the ecosystem, while stegosaurs and ornithopods added variety to the browsing and grazing communities. To survive among these giants, Allosaurus had to employ multiple hunting strategies depending on the size and defensive capabilities of its target. It likely targeted juveniles of the enormous sauropods, sick individuals, or isolated members of herds. Against plated herbivores like Stegosaurus, Allosaurus had to be especially careful, as fossil evidence shows healed wounds on both predator and prey, revealing a deadly arms race between them. A single strike from a stegosaur's spiked tail could be fatal, but Allosaurus adapted with a combination of speed, timing, and precision aggression. Recent discoveries have suggested that Allosaurus may have engaged in coordinated hunting, though not necessarily in cooperative packs like wolves. Instead, they may have been opportunistic group hunters, drawn together by the presence of large prey or scavenging opportunities. Evidence from bone beds containing multiple Allosaurus individuals, along with bite marks on bones from other Allosaurus, indicates a complex social structure where individuals competed fiercely but also tolerated each other long enough to exploit a food source. This behavior mirrors that of modern large reptiles and birds of prey, where group presence does not always imply true cooperation, but rather shared opportunity. The result was a predator that could overwhelm prey through a combination of individual skill and collective pressure. The sensory capabilities of Allosaurus reveal an animal finely tuned for active predation. Its eyes were positioned to grant some degree of binocular vision, allowing it to judge distance effectively during attacks. The nasal passages were spacious, suggesting a strong sense of smell that aided in tracking prey or detecting carcasses across vast distances. Its ears, positioned behind the skull's crests, may have been sensitive to a wide range of frequencies, helping it detect movement or vocalizations within herds. These adaptations indicate a predator that did not rely solely on brute strength, but used heightened perception to anticipate opportunity, avoid danger, and exploit weak points in its prey's defenses. Allosaurus also showed remarkable resilience and adaptability throughout its life cycle. Juveniles were far more slender and agile than adults, likely hunting smaller prey or using speed to avoid conflict with larger carnivores. As they grew, their diet shifted toward larger animals, and their skulls thickened to support stronger musculature. This ontogenetic shift reduced competition between young and adult individuals, allowing the species as a whole to dominate multiple tiers of the ecosystem. The flexibility of its growth and behavior contributed to its long-term success, ensuring that Allosaurus maintained its position as a top predator for millions of years. Competition existed, but Allosaurus held a decisive advantage. While other theropods shared its environment, such as Ceratosaurus and Torvosaurus, each predator occupied a different ecological niche. Ceratosaurus may have preferred wetter habitats and more agile prey, whereas Torvosaurus, though powerful, was rarer and possibly more specialized. Allosaurus's combination of mobility, power, and strategic hunting allowed it to exploit the widest range of opportunities. It became the dominant carnivore not by sheer size, but by adaptability and efficiency, traits that helped it flourish across the Morrison ecosystem and beyond. The behavioral evidence left behind tells a story of a predator that lived a dangerous and sometimes brutal life. Bones from Allosaurus individuals show signs of injuries from hunts, intraspecific conflict, and encounters with formidable herbivores. Yet many of these injuries healed, indicating strong physiological resilience. Some skulls show bite marks from other Allosaurus, hinting at aggressive social dynamics, while others display signs of infections or stress fractures. These fossils provide a direct connection to the lived experiences of a predator constantly engaged in the struggle for survival, whether hunting prey, defending territory, or competing for mates. In the grand timeline of evolutionary history, Allosaurus represented a peak in Jurassic predation, a hunter shaped by the challenge of living alongside some of the largest animals ever to roam the planet. Its disappearance toward the end of the Jurassic, likely due to environmental changes and the rise of new ecological pressures, paved the way for the gigantic theropods of the Cretaceous. Yet during its reign, Allosaurus was unmatched in versatility and ecological dominance. It influenced the evolution of herbivores, shaped the distribution of prey species, and left an enduring mark on the fossil record as one of the most iconic carnivores of its age. Acrocanthosaurus, giant carnosaur of the early Cretaceous. The early Cretaceous, roughly 115 to 110 million years ago, saw the rise of a new generation of giant predators, among which Acrocanthosaurus was a preeminent apex. Its name, meaning high-spined lizard, reflects one of its most distinctive physical traits: a series of elongated neural spines running along the vertebrae of its back, forming a ridge that may have supported a muscular hump or sail. These spines, far from being mere ornamentation, likely contributed to strength and thermoregulation, providing stability for a predator whose sheer size demanded robust musculature. Acrocanthosaurus was built to dominate the landscapes of what is now North America, stalking the floodplains and river valleys alongside enormous sauropods and ornithopods, and asserting its position as one of the most formidable predators of the early Cretaceous. Acrocanthosaurus reached lengths of up to 12 meters, with a skull measuring more than a meter, packed with serrated teeth designed to slice through the thick hides of large herbivorous dinosaurs. Its jaws were capable of delivering bone-crushing force, yet the predator relied as much on technique as sheer bite strength. Fossil evidence and biomechanical modeling suggest that Acrocanthosaurus may have used repeated slashing bites, driving its head downward like a hatchet, striking vital areas such as the neck or flanks. The combination of powerful forelimbs, equipped with 3 curved claws, and a flexible, muscular neck allowed it to hold and manipulate struggling prey while delivering lethal strikes. Each anatomical adaptation reinforced its role as a top predator, capable of subduing animals larger than itself. The environment Acrocanthosaurus inhabited was rich and diverse, dominated by sauropods such as Sauroposeidon, Cambrisaurids, and early iguanodontians. The predator's size and speed were critical in allowing it to hunt these massive creatures. Ambush tactics were likely essential. The floodplains and woodlands offered cover, and Acrocanthosaurus could approach undetected before launching a sudden, decisive attack. Smaller ornithopods and juvenile sauropods were also part of its diet, ensuring it could exploit a broad ecological niche. Fossils show evidence of predation marks on multiple herbivorous taxa, indicating a versatile and opportunistic hunting strategy that allowed Acrocanthosaurus to thrive where other predators might struggle. Forelimb strength was another defining feature. While many later theropods reduced their forelimbs, Acrocanthosaurus retained robust arms capable of grasping, holding, and striking prey. The claws were curved and powerful, not only for gripping but possibly for delivering slashing wounds. This dual function of forelimbs and jaws allowed the predator to immobilize prey long enough to deliver fatal bites. Such adaptations suggest a predator that could take down animals with a range of defensive strategies, from armored nodosaurids to massive sauropods, relying on coordination and power rather than speed alone. The elongated neural spines are still a subject of debate among paleontologists. Some hypothesize they supported a fatty hump similar to modern bison, which could store energy and regulate body temperature. Others propose they supported a sail-like structure used for display, species recognition, or intimidation of rivals and prey. Regardless of their function, these spines illustrate that Acrocanthosaurus evolved features that enhanced both its physical performance and social interactions, making it not only a hunting specialist but a creature adapted to the social and environmental pressures of its ecosystem. Acrocanthosaurus was a top predator during a time when ecosystems were dominated by gigantic herbivores, and its anatomy reflects a combination of evolutionary pressures: size, strength, and hunting efficiency. Its eyes, positioned for forward-facing vision, provided depth perception critical for judging distances during attacks. Its skull and teeth were optimized to penetrate tough hides, and its limbs allowed for short bursts of speed to close distances quickly. Together, these features made it an apex predator capable of shaping the structure of early Cretaceous ecosystems, influencing herbivore distribution, behavior, and even evolution. Fossil sites reveal that Acrocanthosaurus likely interacted with other large predators, such as large crocodiliforms or smaller theropods, but its size and specialization gave it dominance. Competition may have occurred over prey or carcasses, but as the apex predator, it faced little real threat from other animals. Its role mirrors that of later theropods, like Carcharodontosaurus and Giganotosaurus, demonstrating how apex carnivores consistently evolve strategies to monopolize resources within their ecosystems. Behaviorally, Acrocanthosaurus may have been an ambush predator that also scavenged opportunistically. Juveniles, being smaller and faster, may have relied more on hunting smaller prey, reducing competition with adults. Evidence of healed injuries in adult fossils indicates they survived fights and hunting injuries, reflecting resilience and adaptability. These traits, combined with physical power, helped ensure its dominance over several million years in its environment. The extinction of Acrocanthosaurus appears linked to environmental shifts and the emergence of new predators later in the Cretaceous. Its disappearance created a temporary vacuum in apex predation that would eventually be filled by new lineages of enormous carnosaurs and Carcharodontosaurids. However, during its reign, Acrocanthosaurus epitomized the apex predator archetype: large, powerful, intelligent, and fully adapted to controlling the food webs around it. In the grand narrative of pre-T Rex predators, Acrocanthosaurus stands as a remarkable example of evolutionary innovation. It was not merely large, it was refined for power, versatility, and survival in a complex and dangerous ecosystem. Every anatomical adaptation, from its skull to its spines, claws, and limbs, contributed to its ecological supremacy. Its reign demonstrates that long before T. Rex existed, predators had already evolved sophisticated strategies to dominate their worlds, shaping the evolutionary path of prey and influencing the structure of entire ecosystems across continents. Siats Meekerorum, the mid-Cretaceous apex. The mid-Cretaceous landscape of North America, roughly 98 to 95 million years ago, was a lush and dynamic environment dominated by sprawling floodplains, river systems, and dense forests of conifers, ferns, and cycads. Within this ecosystem roamed Siats Meekerorum, a massive theropod whose very presence demanded attention from every herbivore in the region. Siats occupied the apex predator role during a time when giant sauropods, nodosaurids, and early ornithopods shaped the structure of the ecosystem. Measuring up to 10 meters in length and possibly weighing several tons, this predator combined size, power, and agility in ways that made it one of the most formidable mid-Cretaceous hunters in North America, dominating its prey through brute strength and predatory intelligence. The skull of Siats was long, narrow, and reinforced, lined with serrated teeth capable of slicing through the thick hides and armor of contemporaneous herbivores. Each tooth was recurved and laterally compressed, optimized for puncturing flesh and holding struggling prey. Biomechanical studies suggest that its bite force, while not as extreme as later tyrannosaurs, was sufficient to inflict lethal wounds on large prey. Coupled with robust neck muscles, Siats could deliver rapid downward strikes, hacking at its target repeatedly. The predator's cranial architecture indicates that it combined force with precision, able to adjust its strikes to the size and behavior of its prey, from juvenile sauropods to medium-sized armored dinosaurs. Siats possessed long, muscular limbs, particularly its hind legs, allowing for bursts of speed to close distances rapidly. Unlike some larger theropods whose weight limited agility, Siats retained enough mobility to chase smaller prey over short distances or maneuver around obstacles during ambushes. Its forelimbs, while not as massive as its hind limbs, were strong and tipped with large claws that could grip, slash, or pin prey in combination with its powerful jaws. This combination of strength and dexterity made Siats versatile, able to tackle a range of herbivorous dinosaurs with different defensive strategies, from armored nodosaurids to the faster, smaller iguanodontians. The sensory capabilities of Siats suggest a predator highly attuned to its environment. Its eyes were positioned for moderate binocular vision, providing depth perception essential for gauging distance during attacks. The structure of the inner ear indicates acute balance and spatial awareness, critical for maintaining stability while moving rapidly or lunging at large prey. Olfactory regions of the brain were likely well developed, allowing it to track herbivores over long distances, detect carcasses, or sense rivals. Together, these adaptations indicate a predator that was not reliant solely on brute strength, but combined speed, intelligence, and sensory acuity to dominate its ecosystem. Siats occupied a niche left vacant by the decline of earlier giant predators such as Acrocanthosaurus. With few competitors of similar size, it ruled the food webs of its region, hunting the abundant sauropods, ornithopods, and armored dinosaurs that populated the floodplains. Fossil evidence, while limited, suggests that Siats exerted top-down control over herbivore populations, shaping their behaviors and movement patterns. Herding animals may have altered migration routes or group formations to avoid encounters with this apex predator, illustrating its profound ecological influence. Hunting strategies likely varied depending on prey size and vulnerability. Against large sauropods, Siats may have focused on juveniles or sick individuals, using ambush tactics to isolate targets before delivering fatal bites. Smaller prey could be chased and subdued more directly, leveraging agility and speed. This flexibility in hunting approach underscores the predator's adaptability, a trait critical for apex status in dynamic and complex ecosystems. Such versatility also suggests that Siats was an intelligent hunter, capable of assessing situations and adjusting strategies accordingly. Interactions with other predators were rare but potentially intense. Mid-sized theropods may have scavenged or competed for carcasses, but Siats's size and strength gave it dominance over most rivals. Intraspecific competition likely occurred, with adults engaging in displays or combats for territory or access to mates. Bite marks on fossil bones hint at these conflicts, revealing injuries that healed over time and suggesting that Siats could survive and recover from violent encounters. These behaviors emphasize that even apex predators faced challenges and required resilience to maintain dominance. The physiology of Siats indicates adaptations for a high-energy lifestyle. Its long limbs, muscular tail, and robust frame suggest sustained activity, while skeletal features imply a metabolism capable of supporting active predation. This is consistent with the demands placed on apex predators, which must hunt frequently to sustain their size and energy requirements. Juvenile Siats may have grown rapidly, starting with smaller prey and gradually progressing to larger targets as they matured, reducing intraspecific competition and maximizing ecological efficiency. Siats's extinction likely resulted from ecological shifts during the Late Cretaceous. including the rise of tyrannosaurids that would eventually dominate North America. Changing climates, evolving prey species, and competition from emerging theropod lineages likely contributed to its decline. Yet during its reign, Siats was unmatched in its ability to control the structure of its ecosystem, a testament to the enduring strategies of apex predation that persisted from the Permian through the Cretaceous. In the broader narrative of pre-T, Rex predators, Siats Meekerorum, demonstrates how apex predators evolved incrementally across millions of years, combining size, strength, agility, and sensory specialization. It exemplifies the transitional apex roles between early giant carnosaurs and the ultimate dominance of tyrannosaurs, highlighting the continuity of evolutionary pressures that shaped predator-prey dynamics. Siats was not merely a large theropod, it was an ecological architect, defining the behavior, movement, and survival strategies of every species around it. Carcharodontosaurus, Africa's apex carnivore. During the mid-Cretaceous, roughly 100 to 93 million years ago, Africa was a land of vast river deltas, dense forests, and sprawling floodplains, teeming with herbivorous giants such as sauropods and iguanodontians. In this environment, Carcharodontosaurus rose as the dominant predator, a behemoth whose name, meaning shark-toothed lizard, reflects the formidable serrated teeth capable of slicing through flesh and bone with terrifying efficiency. Measuring up to 13 meters in length and weighing several tons, this massive carnivore rivaled even the largest contemporaneous theropods in both size and power. Its presence dictated the behavior of every herbivore in the ecosystem and established it as one of the apex predators of the Cretaceous. Carcharodontosaurus possessed a long, narrow skull that maximized bite reach while minimizing weight, allowing for faster head strikes and enhanced jaw agility. Its serrated teeth, some exceeding 15 centimeters, were laterally compressed, functioning like serrated knives designed to inflict deep wounds. Fossilized bite marks on sauropod bones suggest that it targeted vital areas such as the neck and flanks, capable of crippling prey rapidly. Unlike the robust, crushing jaws of tyrannosaurids, Carcharodontosaurus relied on slicing efficiency, delivering repeated cuts that weakened its target over time. This hunting strategy made it particularly effective against massive herbivores that could not be brought down with a single bite. The forelimbs of Carcharodontosaurus, though relatively small compared to its overall size, were muscular and equipped with 3 large curved claws. These limbs allowed it to grasp or stabilize prey while delivering lethal bites, demonstrating a coordinated attack style that combined strength, precision, and balance. Its hind limbs were powerful and long, adapted for bursts of speed and maneuvering around large prey. The tail acted as a counterbalance, stabilizing the massive predator during sudden lunges or while tearing at struggling animals. Every aspect of its anatomy contributed to its ability to dominate the mid-Cretaceous ecosystem. The sensory adaptations of Carcharodontosaurus highlight its role as a refined hunter. Eyes positioned slightly forward provided depth perception, allowing accurate judgment of distance during attacks. Its olfactory region was highly developed, suggesting a keen sense of smell to locate prey, detect rivals, and possibly track carcasses over long distances. The inner ear's semicircular canals indicate strong balance control, essential for handling the massive forces involved in biting and maneuvering large prey. Together, these features created a predator that relied on more than brute strength, combining perception, intelligence, and physical power. Carcharodontosaurus coexisted with other large predators, such as Spinosaurus, though they likely occupied different ecological niches. Spinosaurus favoured aquatic or semi-aquatic prey, while Carcharodontosaurus specialised in terrestrial megaherbivores. This separation reduced direct competition, allowing both predators to dominate simultaneously. Fossil evidence of healed injuries from intraspecific combat suggests that adult Carcharodontosaurus occasionally engaged rivals in contests for territory, mating rights, or carcass dominance, demonstrating that even apex predators face challenges within their own species. The hunting strategies of Carcharodontosaurus varied depending on prey type and size. Against large sauropods, it likely targeted young, weak, or isolated individuals, ambushing them from cover or using bursts of speed to exploit openings in the herd. Against smaller ornithopods and juvenile sauropods, it could rely on direct pursuit, using its agility and strength to capture prey efficiently. This versatility in predatory behavior made it capable of exploiting a wide range of prey, ensuring ecological dominance across diverse environments. Evidence from bone beds and fossilized remains suggests that Carcharodontosaurus maintained territories that allowed consistent access to large prey populations. Individuals likely ranged widely, patrolling riverbanks, floodplains, and forested areas to monitor the movement of herbivore herds. The sheer size and presence of this predator would have influenced the behavior and migration patterns of prey species, forcing them to evolve defensive strategies, group cohesion, and vigilant behaviors. In this way, Carcharodontosaurus not only hunted, but also structured the ecosystems around it. Physiologically, Carcharodontosaurus was built to sustain energy-intensive hunting. Its large body size, muscular frame, and robust skeletal features suggest it could handle the stresses of attacking massive prey repeatedly. Juveniles were likely smaller, faster, and capable of hunting smaller prey independently, gradually transitioning to larger prey as they grew. This ontogenetic shift reduced competition within the species and allowed multiple life stages to occupy the apex predator role simultaneously, optimizing resource use. The extinction of Carcharodontosaurus likely resulted from ecological changes at the end of the mid-Cretaceous, including competition from emerging tyrannosaurids and the disappearance of its primary prey. Despite its eventual disappearance, it represents one of the pinnacle achievements of carnivore evolution before T-Rex. Its anatomical specialization, behavioral flexibility, and ecological dominance illustrate how apex predators evolved across continents and eras, shaping the evolutionary trajectory of herbivorous dinosaurs and entire ecosystems. In the story of pre-T-Rex predators, Carcharodontosaurus stands as a testament to the recurring patterns of apex carnivory. Enormous size, lethal adaptations, sensory sophistication, and the ability to influence the behavior and evolution of countless other species. It was more than a predator. It was an ecosystem architect, demonstrating the power of apex predators long before the reign of tyrannosaurs would reach its peak. Its reign in Africa's floodplains offers a vivid example of how evolutionary pressures consistently produce apex hunters capable of shaping the natural world. Giganotosaurus, South America's colossal carnivore. The Late Cretaceous of South America, approximately 98 to 97 million years ago, was a land of immense rivers, dense forests, and sprawling floodplains where herbivorous giants such as titanosaurs moved in massive herds. In this environment, Giganotosaurus emerged as one of the largest terrestrial predators of its time, eclipsing even many of its contemporaries in sheer size and predatory capability. Measuring up to 13 meters in length and weighing multiple tons, Giganotosaurus held an apex role similar to that of later tyrannosaurs, dominating prey populations and shaping the behaviors of entire ecosystems. Its massive frame, combined with advanced hunting adaptations, made it a formidable hunter whose presence influenced both the evolution and survival strategies of the herbivores around it. Giganotosaurus possessed a long, narrow skull, perfectly suited for slicing through flesh rather than crushing bone. Its teeth were large, laterally compressed and serrated, optimized for inflicting deep, fatal wounds on sauropods and other large herbivores. Fossilized bones of prey animals show evidence of repeated, slashing bites, indicating that Giganotosaurus relied on repeated strikes to weaken its victims. Unlike tyrannosaurs, which used bone-crushing bites to subdue prey, Giganotosaurus was a predator of technique and power, combining bite placement, strength, and its sheer size to disable even the most massive sauropods. The forelimbs of Giganotosaurus, while relatively small, were muscular and tipped with sharp claws that could help grip struggling prey. Its hind limbs were powerful and built for bursts of speed, allowing it to ambush or chase down prey efficiently over short distances. The tail functioned as a stabilizer, counterbalancing its enormous head and facilitating agile maneuvers during hunting. Together, these features created a predator capable of tackling animals far larger than itself, using a combination of strength, balance, and technique that allowed it to dominate its ecosystem with precision. Its sensory adaptations suggest a predator finely attuned to the demands of hunting massive prey. Forward-facing eyes provided depth perception necessary for judging distances during strikes, while an acute sense of smell allowed it to track prey over long distances or detect competitors and carrion. The inner ear structure implies excellent balance and spatial awareness, critical for maintaining stability when lunging at or wrestling with enormous herbivores. These adaptations show that Giganotosaurus was not simply a brute force predator, but a sophisticated hunter, relying on perception and coordination as much as size and strength. Giganotosaurus coexisted with other large theropods, yet its size and specialization gave it dominance over the majority of competitors. Smaller carnivores may have scavenged kills or hunted smaller prey, but no predator could challenge the adult Giganotosaurus in direct confrontation. Fossil evidence of bite marks from conspecifics suggests occasional intraspecific conflict, likely over territory or access to food resources. These interactions demonstrate that even apex predators faced challenges within their own species, requiring resilience, strength, and aggression to maintain dominance. The prey of Giganotosaurus included some of the largest herbivores ever to roam South America. Titanosaurs, with long necks and massive bodies, required careful strategy to bring down, often targeting juveniles, weak, or isolated individuals. Smaller ornithopods and theropods supplemented its diet, demonstrating the predator's opportunistic versatility. The repeated bite marks on fossil bones indicate that Giganotosaurus may have employed slashing attacks aimed at vital areas to incapacitate prey before final consumption. Its hunting style reflects a combination of brute strength, intelligence, and behavioral sophistication unmatched by many other predators of the period. Juvenile Giganotosaurus were likely smaller, faster, and more agile, capable of hunting smaller prey independently while avoiding conflict with adults. As they grew, they graduated to larger prey, reducing competition within the species and ensuring that each life stage occupied a distinct ecological niche. This ontogenetic shift highlights a key aspect of apex predator evolution. The ability to maintain population dominance across life stages without direct conflict over resources. The environment of Giganotosaurus required adaptability. Seasonal floods, dense forests, and dynamic herd movements of prey demanded that the predator balance speed, strength, and strategy. Ambush hunting likely dominated its approach, allowing it to exploit cover provided by the landscape, striking with bursts of power that could overcome even the largest herbivores. Its presence influenced herbivore migration, grouping behavior, and habitat selection, making it an ecological architect of its own domain. Physiologically, Giganotosaurus was built for sustained predation. Its skeletal and muscular structure suggest it could survive repeated confrontations with large prey, while its sensory and coordination abilities ensured efficient hunting. Injuries found on fossil specimens indicate survival after combat or hunting incidents, demonstrating resilience critical for maintaining apex status. These traits, combined with its size, positioned Giganotosaurus at the top of the Cretaceous food chain for millions of years. Giganotosaurus's extinction likely resulted from environmental changes, evolving prey populations, and competition from new predator lineages, setting the stage for the eventual dominance of tyrannosaurids in North America. However, during its reign, it exemplified the power, specialization, and ecological influence of a true apex predator. As one of the last great giant carnosaurs before the rise of T-Rex, Giganotosaurus illustrates how evolution repeatedly produces massive, highly efficient predators that define the ecosystems around them, shaping the evolutionary trajectory of herbivores and influencing life across entire continents. Mapusaurus, the apex pack hunter. In the late Cretaceous of what is now Argentina, roughly 97 to 93 million years ago, the sprawling floodplains and river valleys were home to one of the most fearsome predators of its time, Mapusaurus. Closely related to Giganotosaurus, this colossal theropod was among the largest carnivores of South America, reaching lengths of up to 12 meters and weighing several tons. Unlike solitary hunters, Mapusaurus is notable for evidence suggesting social behavior, possibly hunting in packs, which allowed it to take on enormous prey far larger than itself. Its reign represents a significant chapter in the evolution of apex predators, showcasing the combination of size, intelligence, and potential group coordination in Cretaceous ecosystems. The skull of Mapusaurus was long and robust, designed for slicing flesh rather than crushing bone. Its teeth were serrated, recurved, and razor-sharp, capable of delivering repeated, devastating slashes to struggling prey. The jaws, reinforced with powerful muscles, allowed the predator to bite deeply while maintaining precision and control. Unlike the bone-crushing bite of tyrannosaurs, Mapusaurus relied on repeated, targeted strikes, often aimed at the limbs or flanks of sauropods, gradually weakening these giants until they could be brought down. Fossil evidence from related species suggests this method was highly effective, allowing coordinated attacks that could overwhelm animals many times their own size. The forelimbs of Mapusaurus, while smaller than the hind limbs, were muscular and equipped with 3 curved claws. These limbs likely played a role in grappling prey, stabilizing struggling animals while delivering fatal bites, and perhaps even in social interactions with conspecifics. Its hind limbs were long, strong, and adapted for bursts of speed, allowing it to maneuver through dense forests and floodplains effectively. The massive tail acted as a counterbalance, supporting stability during attacks, running, or sudden directional changes. These features made Mapusaurus a predator capable of combining brute strength with agility, a necessity for hunting the enormous sauropods that roamed its territory. Evidence from fossilized bone beds suggests that Mapusaurus may have exhibited some degree of social behavior. Multiple individuals have been found together, possibly indicating cooperative hunting or at least gregarious scavenging. This potential pack behavior would have allowed Mapusaurus to take on the largest prey in its environment, coordinating attacks to subdue Tyrannosaurs, the colossal long-necked herbivores that dominated the floodplains. While modern analogues such as wolves and lions do not perfectly replicate this behavior, the evidence points to a level of social coordination rare among giant theropods. Mapusaurus coexisted with other formidable predators, but its size and potential cooperative behavior likely ensured its dominance. Smaller theropods may have scavenged or competed over carcasses, but adults would have faced little real threat from other predators. Intraspecific interactions, however, may have been frequent, with conflicts over territory, mates, or food resources. Bite marks on fossil specimens indicate occasional confrontations that healed over time, suggesting resilience and survival skills crucial for maintaining apex status. The prey of Mapusaurus was among the largest of the Cretaceous. Titanosaurs, including Argentinosaurus juveniles and smaller adults, were abundant and would have been a primary target. By hunting in groups, Mapusaurus could attack multiple individuals simultaneously, exploiting weaknesses in size, age, or isolation. Juvenile Mapusaurus may have focused on smaller prey, gradually progressing to larger titanosaurs as they matured, reducing intraspecific competition and ensuring efficient resource use. This ontogenetic shift allowed multiple life stages to coexist in the apex predator role without directly competing for food. Mapusaurus likely relied on ambush tactics and coordinated attacks to overcome massive prey. Its sensory adaptations, including forward-facing eyes for depth perception and a strong sense of smell, enabled it to detect herbivores from a distance and choose the optimal moment for attack. Its inner ear structure indicates excellent balance, critical for lunging or grappling large, struggling prey. These traits underscore that Mapusaurus was not only a predator of size and strength, but also of intelligence and strategy. The presence of Mapusaurus influenced the behavior and distribution of herbivores across its ecosystem. Titanosaurs likely moved in coordinated herds to avoid ambushes, while smaller herbivores adapted behaviors to evade detection. The predator's dominance shaped the landscape of survival, forcing evolutionary pressures on multiple species simultaneously. In this way, Mapusaurus functioned as an ecological architect, structuring its environment and influencing the evolution of both prey and competitor species. Physiologically, Mapusaurus was well suited for high-energy predation. Its skeletal and muscular structure allowed repeated confrontations with giant prey, while evidence of healed injuries demonstrates resilience critical for apex predators. Its size, combined with the potential for social hunting, placed it at the top of the food chain, capable of controlling prey populations and dominating the ecosystems of Late Cretaceous South America. Mapusaurus represents a pivotal stage in the evolution of apex predators before T. rex. It demonstrates that large carnivorous dinosaurs were not only solitary hunters, but could evolve strategies, possibly including social coordination, to exploit the largest prey available. Its combination of power, intelligence, and potential group behavior highlights the sophistication of predation long before the final dominance of tyrannosaurs. As an apex predator, Mapusaurus exemplifies the evolutionary continuity of strategies used to dominate ecosystems, shaping both prey behavior and the structure of its prehistoric world. Tyrannotitan, giant apex, of Gondwana. During the mid-Cretaceous, roughly 112 to 97 million years ago, the ancient supercontinent of Gondwana was home to one of the largest predators of its time, Tyrannotitan, a massive Carcharodontosaurid that dominated the landscapes of what is now Argentina. Its name, meaning tyrant titan, reflects both its colossal size and its role as an apex predator. Measuring up to 12 meters in length and weighing several tons, Tyrannotitan was a formidable force in the early to mid-Cretaceous ecosystems, capable of hunting some of the largest herbivorous dinosaurs of its era. It lived in a world filled with titanosaurs, iguanodontians, and armored dinosaurs, and its presence dictated the behavior, movement, and survival strategies of these herbivores. The skull of Tyrannotitan was large, robust, and filled with serrated teeth that could slice through flesh and penetrate deep into muscle. Unlike tyrannosaurids, which relied on bone-crushing power, Tyrannotitan used a combination of slicing and repeated slashing attacks, maximizing the efficiency of each bite. Fossilized marks on prey bones indicate that it likely focused attacks on vulnerable areas such as the neck, flanks, and limbs, gradually weakening even the largest herbivores. Its jaw muscles and skull construction allowed for powerful, controlled bites, demonstrating that precision and technique were as critical to this predator as raw size. The forelimbs of Tyrannotitan, although proportionally smaller than its hind limbs, were muscular and tipped with sharp claws that could grasp or stabilize struggling prey. Its hind limbs were strong and capable of short bursts of speed, enabling the predator to ambush herbivores or maneuver around obstacles in its densely vegetated environment. Its long tail acted as a counterbalance, stabilizing its body during lunges or strikes and allowing quick adjustments while attacking massive prey. This combination of anatomical features made Tyrannotitan a predator capable of bringing down enormous animals through coordinated strikes and sheer power. Tyrannotitan coexisted with other large theropods, though its size and predatory specialization generally placed it at the top of the food chain. Smaller theropods may have scavenged its kills or hunted minor prey, but adult Tyrannotitan likely faced few natural threats. Evidence from bone beds and fossilized injuries suggests occasional intraspecific combat, probably over territory, mates, or carcasses. Such confrontations were brutal but survivable, indicating resilience and adaptability necessary for maintaining apex status in a competitive ecosystem. The prey of Tyrannotitan included some of the largest herbivorous dinosaurs of Gondwana. Titanosaurs such as Anteosaurus and other sauropods dominated the landscape, and even adult specimens could pose a threat to smaller predators. Tyrannotitan likely focused on juvenile, sick, or isolated individuals, while smaller prey supplemented its diet. Its hunting techniques, combining ambush, slashing bites, and powerful forelimb assistance, allowed it to overcome animals far larger than itself. Fossil evidence supports repeated attacks on specific prey areas, demonstrating a strategic approach rather than brute force consumption. Its sensory adaptations were crucial for hunting in dense forests and along riverbanks. Forward-facing eyes allowed for depth perception, essential for accurate strikes, while a developed olfactory region facilitated the detection of prey, rivals, or carcasses over long distances. Inner ear structure indicates excellent balance and coordination, which would have been vital during lunging attacks on massive herbivores. These sensory traits suggest that Tyrannotitan was a predator reliant not only on strength, but on acute perception and intelligence, optimizing each attack for maximum efficiency. Juvenile Tyrannotitan likely occupied different ecological roles, hunting smaller prey and avoiding confrontation with adults. As they matured, they transitioned to larger prey, ensuring minimal competition within the species, while gradually assuming the apex predator role. This ontogenetic shift was a common evolutionary strategy among large theropods, allowing multiple life stages to coexist and maintain dominance over available resources. It also ensured the long-term survival and continuity of the species across generations. The hunting strategy of Tyrannotitan may have included short bursts of ambush predation, stalking prey through riverine forests or floodplains, and relying on timing and coordination to exploit weaknesses in prey herds. Its size and power, combined with sensory acuity, enabled it to take on formidable targets, shaping the behavior and evolution of herbivorous populations. Prey species may have altered migration patterns, herd cohesion, and alertness in response to this apex predator, illustrating the profound ecological influence of Tyrannotitan on its environment. Physiologically, Tyrannotitan was adapted for sustained high-energy predation. Its skeletal and muscular structure allowed it to withstand repeated attacks on massive prey, while fossil evidence of healed injuries demonstrates resilience after combat or hunting injuries. The combination of size, strength, sensory adaptations, and potential strategic hunting made Tyrannotitan one of the most efficient and dominant predators of the mid-Cretaceous in Gondwana. Tyrannotitan's role in the evolutionary history of apex predators is significant. It exemplifies how large carnivores adapted to diverse ecosystems long before the dominance of tyrannosaurids in the northern hemisphere. Its combination of massive size, lethal teeth, coordinated predation potential, and ecological influence demonstrates the recurring patterns of apex predation across time and continents. Tyrannotitan was more than a hunter. It was an ecosystem engineer, shaping prey populations and defining the structure of its world in ways that resonate across the fossil record. Spinosaurus, the semi-aquatic apex. Around 100 to 93 million years ago, the landscapes of North Africa were dominated by expansive river systems, floodplains, and swampy deltas, forming a unique ecosystem that was home to one of the most unusual and specialized predators of the Cretaceous, Spinosaurus aegyptiacus. Unlike other giant theropods, Spinosaurus evolved to exploit semi-aquatic habitats combining massive size, powerful forelimbs, and elongated jaws into a specialized hunting machine. Measuring up to 15 meters in length and potentially weighing several tons, it was arguably the largest carnivorous dinosaur known, an apex predator that ruled both land and water. Its unique adaptations allowed it to dominate aquatic prey, while still influencing terrestrial herbivores and smaller predators. The skull of Spinosaurus was long, narrow, and crocodile-like, lined with conical, unserrated teeth, ideal for grasping slippery prey such as large fish. Unlike the blade-shaped teeth of Carcharodontosaurids or Tyrannosaurids, its dentition was optimized to pierce and hold rather than slice. Fossil evidence, including fish remains found in the stomach area of related species, supports the interpretation of a predominantly piscivorous diet, though it may have opportunistically hunted smaller terrestrial animals. The jaw structure, reinforced by strong neck muscles, allowed it to snap quickly and exert enough force to capture struggling prey in aquatic environments. One of the most striking features of Spinosaurus was the elongated neural spines that formed a tall sail along its back, some exceeding 1.5 meters in height. The function of this sail has been debated. It may have served as a display structure to intimidate rivals or attract mates, aided in thermoregulation, or even supported fat reserves for energy storage. Regardless of its exact role, The sail emphasized the evolutionary divergence of Spinosaurus from other giant theropods, illustrating the innovation that allowed it to exploit semi-aquatic niches successfully. Its forelimbs were particularly powerful, with enormous claws and robust musculature. These limbs were likely used to grasp struggling fish, grapple with prey, or even subdue smaller terrestrial animals. The combination of large, clawed arms and specialized jaws made Spinosaurus a versatile predator in water, capable of capturing prey that many other theropods could not exploit. Its hind limbs, though shorter relative to body size compared to other large theropods, suggest a more quadrupedal or semi-sprawling stance, further indicating its adaptation to aquatic hunting. Spinosaurus inhabited a unique ecosystem where fish, such as coelacanths, sawfish, and large lungfish, dominated rivers, alongside crocodiliforms and smaller theropods. This abundance of aquatic prey allowed Spinosaurus to thrive, reducing direct competition with large terrestrial carnivores, such as Carcharodontosaurus or other mid-Cretaceous predators. Fossil evidence from jaw and tooth morphology supports the notion that Spinosaurus could dominate multiple trophic levels, exploiting both aquatic and nearshore terrestrial prey efficiently. Its sensory adaptations further reinforced its apex status. Forward-facing eyes allowed depth perception during hunting, while the olfactory region suggests an acute sense of smell, potentially useful for locating prey along riverbanks. The inner ear structure indicates excellent balance, essential for wading, swimming, or striking in unstable aquatic environments. Collectively, these adaptations enabled Spinosaurus to navigate its semi-aquatic habitat with precision and effectiveness, a predator uniquely tuned to the challenges of a partially aquatic lifestyle. Behaviorally, Spinosaurus may have relied heavily on ambush predation, lurking in shallow waters or along riverbanks to capture unsuspecting fish or small terrestrial prey. Its large sail and display features could have played roles in territorial dominance or mating displays, further emphasizing its integration into both social and environmental dynamics. Juvenile Spinosaurus likely occupied slightly different ecological niches, focusing on smaller prey and gradually transitioning to larger fish or terrestrial animals as they matured. This ontogenetic shift would have minimized intraspecific competition, allowing multiple age classes to coexist successfully. Competition with other predators was limited due to Spinosaurus's niche specialization. While large terrestrial carnivores hunted herbivorous dinosaurs, Spinosaurus focused on aquatic prey, reducing direct conflicts and allowing it to thrive as an apex predator without significant rivals. However, interactions with crocodile-like species and other large fish may have provided occasional challenges, requiring agility and strength in hunting and foraging strategies. The skeletal structure of Spinosaurus, particularly its elongated neural spines, robust forelimbs, and semi-aquatic adaptations, suggests a high-energy lifestyle capable of supporting prolonged hunting, wading, and swimming. Fossil evidence of healed injuries indicates resilience, demonstrating that even the largest predators face challenges from prey, environmental hazards, or intraspecific encounters. These adaptations made Spinosaurus a uniquely dominant predator in both aquatic and nearshore environments. Spinosaurus represents a remarkable evolutionary experiment in apex predation, diverging from terrestrial norms to exploit semi-aquatic habitats. Its size, specialized morphology, and ecological dominance highlight the diversity of strategies that predators evolved long before T-Rex emerged. By shaping both aquatic and terrestrial food webs, influencing prey populations, and maintaining apex dominance across multiple environments, Spinosaurus demonstrates the remarkable adaptability and evolutionary innovation of pre-tyrannosaurid predators. Megaraptor, South America's agile predator. During the late Cretaceous of South America, roughly 90 to 85 million years ago, a new type of apex predator emerged that relied less on sheer size and more on speed, agility, and specialized hunting adaptations. Megaraptor, despite its misleading name suggesting enormous size, was a theropod built for precision and efficiency. Measuring up to 8 to 9 meters in length, it was smaller than giants like Giganotosaurus or Tyrannotitan. Yet its adaptations allowed it to dominate its ecological niche. Unlike its colossal relatives, Megaraptor excelled in hunting mid-sized prey, exploiting speed and dexterity to outmaneuver herbivores and maintain its apex status in a complex ecosystem. The skull of Megaraptor was elongated and lightly built, lined with recurved, serrated teeth optimized for slicing flesh. Unlike the bone-crushing jaws of Carcharodontosaurids, Megaraptor relied on repeated slashing bites and precise strikes to incapacitate prey. Fossil evidence indicates that it likely targeted vulnerable areas such as the neck, underbelly, or limbs, focusing on efficiency and precision rather than brute force. This hunting strategy made it a versatile predator capable of capturing a wide range of prey, from small ornithopods to juvenile sauropods. Megaraptor's forelimbs were its most remarkable feature. Exceptionally long and muscular, they ended in massive, elongated claws, some measuring nearly 40 centimeters. These claws were capable of raking, grasping, or pinning prey, making the forelimbs a lethal tool in combination with its agile body. The evolution of such forelimbs suggests an active hunting strategy that relied on grappling and repeated slashing rather than overpowering prey solely with its jaws. This specialization gave Megaraptor a distinct advantage over similarly sized carnivores in South America's ecosystems. Its hind limbs were long, slender, and powerful, built for speed and agility. This allowed Megaraptor to maneuver quickly in pursuit of nimble prey or through dense forested areas where larger predators might struggle. The tail served as a stabilizer, aiding in balance during rapid turns or sudden lunges. Together, the skeletal and muscular adaptations created a predator capable of precise, high-speed predation, highlighting a different approach to apex dominance than the colossal, brute-force strategies of Giganotosaurus or Tyrannotitan. Megaraptor inhabited environments rich in mid-sized herbivores, including iguanodontians, small sauropods, and ornithopods. Its hunting likely involved stalking or ambush, using speed and stealth to approach targets before delivering precise, disabling strikes. Juvenile Megaraptor may have started with smaller prey, gradually transitioning to larger targets as they matured, reducing intraspecific competition and ensuring ecological efficiency. This ontogenetic strategy allowed multiple age classes to coexist within the apex predator framework without direct conflict over resources. Its sensory capabilities were crucial for hunting. Forward-facing eyes provided depth perception necessary for accurate strikes, while olfactory regions suggest a keen sense of smell, useful for locating prey or monitoring competitor movements. The inner ear structure indicates precise balance and coordination, essential for executing rapid maneuvers while grappling with prey. These adaptations, combined with agility and forelimb specialization, made Megaraptor one of the most effective mid-sized predators in South America. Competition with other large theropods likely focused on prey access rather than direct combat. While Giganotosaurus and Tyrannotitan dominated the largest herbivores, Megaraptor exploited mid-sized prey with speed and precision, allowing it to coexist without constant conflict. Its niche specialization reduced direct competition and ensured that it could thrive as an apex predator within its own ecological tier. Fossil evidence also suggests that Megaraptor experienced injuries that healed, indicating resilience and survival through encounters with prey and possibly conspecifics. Its lightweight yet powerful body allowed it to recover and maintain hunting efficiency despite challenges. This resilience was critical in a complex ecosystem where environmental pressures, predator-prey interactions, and occasional intraspecific conflicts demanded adaptability. The hunting strategy of Megaraptor demonstrates an evolutionary alternative to sheer size dominance. It shows that apex predation could be achieved through agility, specialized weaponry, and precision attacks, rather than relying solely on mass or brute force. By occupying this niche, Megaraptor influenced the behavior, grouping patterns, and movement of herbivorous species, illustrating how even mid-sized predators could shape ecosystems. Megaraptor's legacy in the evolutionary narrative of apex predators highlights the diversity of strategies that pre-tyrannosaurid carnivores employed. Its combination of speed, agility, sensory acuity, and specialized forelimbs underscores the adaptability of predators long before the rise of T. rex. By dominating mid-sized prey and influencing the structure of its ecosystem, Megaraptor exemplifies the multifaceted approaches to apex predation that evolved across continents and eras, demonstrating that size alone was not the only path to dominance. Neovenator, Europe's apex predator. During the early Cretaceous, roughly 125 to 110 million years ago, the European archipelago was a complex mosaic of islands, floodplains, and coastal regions, where a medium to large theropod emerged as the apex predator of its ecosystem, Neovenator salarii. Measuring up to 7-8 meters in length, Neovenator may not have rivaled the giants of Gondwana in sheer size, but it possessed a combination of speed, intelligence, and predatory efficiency that allowed it to dominate European prey species. Its presence shaped the behavior and evolution of herbivores in its environment, demonstrating that apex predation was not solely the realm of massive giants, but could also be achieved through skill, agility, and ecological adaptation. The skull of Neovenator was lightly built, yet robust enough to handle large prey. Its teeth were serrated and recurved, ideal for slicing through flesh, and its jaws were capable of precision strikes aimed at vulnerable areas such as the neck, abdomen, or limbs. Unlike the bone-crushing tyrannosaurs or the enormous Carcharodontosaurids, Neovenator relied on speed, coordination, and repeated slashing bites to incapacitate prey. Fossil evidence of predation marks on Iguanodontians and other herbivorous dinosaurs indicates that Neovenator could efficiently hunt animals similar to or larger than itself, emphasizing its effectiveness despite relatively modest size. Neovenator's forelimbs were well developed, with 3 functional claws capable of gripping or slashing prey. These limbs, combined with strong neck muscles, allowed it to pin struggling prey while delivering lethal bites. Its hind limbs were long and muscular, providing bursts of speed and agility, crucial for hunting in the uneven terrain of European islands, forests, and river valleys. The tail served as a counterbalance, stabilizing the body during lunges or rapid directional changes. This combination of anatomy made Neovenator a versatile and efficient predator, capable of pursuing prey over short distances or ambushing it in dense cover. The European ecosystems Neovenator inhabited were rich with herbivorous dinosaurs such as iguanodontians, small sauropods, and nodosaurids, alongside occasional other theropods. Its ecological role as the apex predator meant it had few competitors for large prey. While smaller carnivores may have scavenged carcasses or hunted minor prey, adult Neovenator dominated the food webs, controlling herbivore populations and influencing prey behavior and movement patterns. Its presence would have forced herbivores to adapt strategies such as grouping, vigilance, and migration to avoid predation, illustrating its profound impact on ecosystem dynamics. Neovenator's hunting strategy likely combined ambush predation and rapid pursuit. Its sensory adaptations, including forward-facing eyes for depth perception and acute olfactory capabilities, allowed it to detect prey or rivals from a distance and time attacks with precision. The inner ear structure indicates advanced balance and coordination, essential for navigating uneven terrain, making quick turns, or stabilizing its body while striking prey. These traits reveal a predator that relied as much on intelligence and agility as on physical strength. Juvenile Neovenator likely occupied slightly different ecological niches, focusing on smaller prey to avoid competition with adults. As they matured, they transitioned to hunting larger herbivores, reducing intraspecific competition and ensuring survival across life stages. This ontogenetic shift is a recurring theme among apex predators, allowing multiple age classes to exploit available resources efficiently while maintaining ecological dominance. Fossil evidence shows that Neovenator experienced injuries and healed fractures, indicating resilience and survival through hunting accidents or encounters with conspecifics. Intraspecific conflicts may have occurred over territory, food, or mates, but adults were capable of recovering from such confrontations. These behaviors demonstrate that survival as an apex predator required more than physical adaptations. It demanded resilience, strategy, and the ability to navigate both prey and social interactions. Neovenator's adaptations highlight the diversity of apex predator strategies across different continents. Unlike giant Carcharodontosaurids or Tyrannosaurids, it relied on agility, speed, and precision, thriving in the fragmented landscapes of European islands. Its hunting style emphasized efficiency, strategy, and specialized predation rather than brute force, proving that apex predators could dominate ecosystems in multiple ways, not just through sheer size. The predator-prey dynamics of Neovenator's environment were directly shaped by its presence. Herbivores developed heightened vigilance, grouping behavior, and migration strategies to survive, while smaller carnivores and opportunistic feeders were constrained by its dominance. By influencing the distribution, behavior, and survival of multiple species, Neovenator functioned as an ecological architect, exerting control over its environment far beyond the simple act of hunting. Neovenator represents a crucial example of apex predation in Europe during the early Cretaceous. It demonstrates that the principles of predatory dominance, intelligence, sensory acuity, agility, and strategic hunting can be as effective as size and brute strength in controlling ecosystems. Its reign illustrates the adaptability and diversity of pre-T. rex predators, providing insight into how apex predators evolved independently across continents to dominate their respective worlds.